Welcome to Lanzarote, the Hawaii of Europe. This Canary Island is a gem for surfers. To a backdrop of rugged volcanoes and wild cliffs, you can surf a range of point, reef, and beach breaks. We'd probably rate it as one of the best Canaries for beginners because of just one town, Caleta de Famara. That's on the west coast, and it's got a lovely sweeping beach break with loads of different peaks and great consistency pretty much all year round. Outside of that, you will need to drive around to find more remote spots, and that does sadly mean contending with the infamous Canarian localism, which is pretty rife here. Anyway, let's dig in a bit more to take a look at all the top spots on the island, the best times to surf here, and everything else you need to know to plan the perfect surf trip to Lanza. Lanzarote is the easternmost of Spain's Canary Islands. It's situated about 125 kilometers off the northwest coast of Africa. It's surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. That gives those consistent swells, which come in pretty much all year. Getting here shouldn't be hard. If you're based in Europe, Lanzarote is a major tourist destination for those looking to escape the winter. Cheap flights on Ryanair and EasyJet and loads of other airlines go all year. They'll take you to the east coast of the island, the city of Arrecife. That's actually the opposite side to where you want to be for surfing, but it's no biggie because it takes about 25 minutes to drive all the way across to Caleta, the main surf town on the west coast. Rental cars are also cheap. We got one last time we were in Lanzarote for about €300 for the whole month. There's one town you need to know about in Lanzarote, Caleta de Famara. This is very much the hub of the surfing on the island and is always the place we recommend surf travelers based themselves. That's not just because it's got some great all-level surf of its own, but it's also because it's kind of the only spot that doesn't have bad localism. It's sort of been designated as the international surf zone here, so the vibes are generally good. The main spots are all along a 2.5-mile beach that's north of the town. It's a stunning place to surf, with the soaring Risco cliffs dominating overhead. The beach is angled perfectly to get all northwest swells. The peaks tend to increase in size as you move north up the beach, but watch out because there are designated zones for kite surfing. Because there's almost always a whitewash wave to enjoy, Caleta de Famara is Lanzarote's top beginner location, and there are tons of surf schools about here. We actually rank it among the best places to learn to surf in the whole of Europe because it will be warm water in the winter and there's great consistency. First up, the Santa. But simply, this is not a break for beginners or even intermediates. When it works, it's unforgiving. It rolls straight over shallow volcanic reef on the west coast, bringing one of the best barrels in the hemisphere. We like to head down just to watch. It usually pumps properly in the height of the winter, and you can grab a coffee in the famous El Santa Hotel and just watch the locals scoring huge slab barrels one after the other. Pozzola is an alternative to Caleta de Famara in that it's a beginner-friendly beach break. It's on the north side of the island, about 5 minutes drive from the small fishing village of Desolate itself, which we recommend you visit anyway because it's really pretty. It's a great option if you have your own rental car and want to escape the crowds of Caleta, but can suffer from a bit of wind in the winter. The east coast generally suffers from a lot more wind than the west coast, and it doesn't get that Atlantic swell. You can find a wave at Arierta, where there's an urban beach with good protection from the north wind that we kind of like to surf sometimes, especially in the winter. North of that is Hamias del Agua, which has one decent left-hand reef break, which is kind of fickle, and a few good wind-certain spots that work throughout the summer. Lanzarote is pretty cool whether you're surfing or not. Days when you don't get in the water can be filled with some pretty gnarly hikes. We highly recommend the trek up Risco cliffs, which you can do from Caleta de Famara, the main surf town we spoke about earlier. It takes around 3 hours each way and zigzags through some strange cacti forests to amazing lookouts of the beach. Also, be sure to drive over Timanfaya National Park. It's famous for being the backdrop scenes in the Planet of the Apes movie. There are a couple of active volcanoes there and some incredible vistas over the center of the island. Finally, Lanzarote has some really charming villages. As a rule we follow, west is best. Almost all the tourist resorts on Lanzarote crowd the east coast of the island. If you like big resort hotels and fighting for your sun lounger each morning, they're great. If you prefer more remote Airbnbs, chilled surf towns, and empty beaches, go to the west or the north coasts. Our all-time favorite village on the island is probably Little Haria. It hosts a really cool art market every Saturday and has some very pretty squares covered in flowers. You could also use that as a jump-off point for hiking the amazing trail down to Risco Beach, which is like a zigzag down really steep cliffs to a white sand bay with turquoise water. Business, sir, but it's super goody.